Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about two map mods that are really difficult for cold casters and how to deal with them. The two map mods that you generally will have a lot of trouble soloing, and even in a group will have trouble with, are Mirrored, which monsters reflect 20% of elemental damage, and Suffering, where players take chaos damage per second. The Reflect reason that's difficult is obvious. You're constantly damaging yourself. And the reason that Suffering is problematic is because since you're constantly taking chaos damage, your energy shield never recharges. So since that's probably about half of your defense, not having energy shield for most of the map, if you lose your energy shield early in the map, then you won't have it for the rest of the map. And that's going to make you really open to getting blown up. So there are two ways to deal with these two different map mods. And I'm just going to check into Fell Shrine and move some gems around to show you this stuff. Because I'm actually a different spec right now. So for Suffering, what you want to do is not lose your energy shield in the first place and play really safe. And so an easy way to do that, if I ever load, so we wait, here we go. Easy way to do that is to sub in Ice Spear as your main attack into your 5-link, or, maybe you only have a 4-link or 6-link, whatever. I have a 6-link, but pretend this is a 5-link. So I'm going to take out Freezing Pulse and put an Ice Spear. And if your links were originally like LMP, faster projectiles, faster casting, and power charge on critical, you might have to replace faster projectiles with Mana Leech because Ice Spear costs more mana than Freezing Pulse. And so we're going to go with Ice Spear, LMP, Mana Leech, faster casting, and power charge on critical. And auras. So anyway, Ice Spear lets you attack things at the very edge of your screen from long range, and it freezes things. I mean, at long range it's going to have nearly 100% crit, especially if you're using this power charge on critical support. You're going to get a freeze pretty much every time. And even in high-level maps, you're going to pretty much freeze all white monsters and almost all blue monsters. And so the only danger is if something comes up behind you, but if you clear in a good pattern, usually you should be able to keep everything in front of you and just keep freezing them at max range and be totally safe. And try not ever lose your energy shield in the first place to the chaos damage. And so if you have like a Surgeon's Hybrid Flask, your health is going to be constantly going down, but your Surgeon's Flask will constantly be refilling so you can keep on topping your health off. You might ask, well, that looks pretty effective, why don't I just use that all the time? The reason is it doesn't do quite as much DPS as Freezing Pulse. Its AoE coverage isn't as good, it doesn't hit as many enemies at once. So it doesn't its potential clearing speed isn't as fast, even though it's a lot safer. For Elemental Reflect, the thing you're going to switch in is Ethereal Knives, which does physical damage, so you're not going to reflect elemental on yourself. And so the gem setup I'm going to do with this is going to be Mana Leech, because it costs a shit ton of mana, faster casting, power charging, critical, and what do I put in? I'll just put in increased crit strikes. And then you have your EK. And so EK is a really, really powerful spell, so even though you're not built for it, even though you probably have, quite a few cold damage nodes or cold damage gear, you still have a lot of general spell damage passives, spell damage gear, and crit, which applies to everything. So your EK is still going to do work. I believe I had I think I had like a 13,000 DPS EK when I was the cold caster spec in the guide. Right now I'm testing out the slow life for just fire spec, so the DPS numbers are going to be different. And when you're using EK though, the thing you really want to watch out for is a Physical Reflect rare. Against Elemental Reflect with Freezing Pulse, you have Cold Resist and you have the Fall Off and Freezing Pulse to protect you a little bit. With EK, you basically are going to have very little armor. Even if you do have armor, EK does so much damage, it's going to bypass that armor very easily. And there's no Fall Off, so it does full damage at whatever range you're at. So if you EK a group of Physical Reflect enemies, you're probably just going to die instantly. So that's something to be paranoid about, but this does let you quite easily do Elemental Reflect maps. Anyway, and that's it.